guests on this show are Edward Bawa, Dr. COCOBOD, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, and Abdul Malik Kweku Bako. Frank Anderson Jr. sends me this from the UK. He says, the amount of money we remit is the reason we like wishing, whining, whining at laziness, incompetence, and poor directions. Okay, you are certainly right about that. You have every right to whine. Okay, so let's hear from Abdul Malik about, from, particularly using Jerry Rawlins's comments to shadow the revelations from the COCOBOD and also the YA.
Well. Saint
talking
Rollins,
about Coco, really. Talking about Coco, I'm getting ready. I'm told that I have been supplied some Swiss chocolates for a very good friend of mine. Doc, thank you once again.
Is that an incentive?
I'm just too much in a hurry to go and grab a bite of it.
Yeah, this Saint Rollins, huh? He's talking of corruption and the fact that this administration has inherited, is it the worst form of corruption?
Yes, the worst ever.
That's his view. Did he provide further and better?
We are told that often he has a lot more information that, and we should expect that he will have a lot more information that any one of us would be privy to.
But we are not entitled to inquire for further and better particulars to substantiate what he says. We are not entitled to that.
Of course we are.
Thank you. But that's not the issue. I wish you hadn't brought it in so that you shift man's focus. Do you understand?
I get you.
I'm being very honest with you. When I want to talk of corruption, I'm not going to take lessons from President Rawlins. I'm sorry. It would distort the discussions. And there is a gentleman. Is it Mr. Atu Folsen? Huh?
Yes, Atu Folsen, he said, former Deputy Finance Minister.
And he says Mr. Boyhinedu was virtually behaving like a serial caller.
Yes.
Did he say that?
Yes, he did.
Senior, the one I was trying to know is Honorable Erikopoku. He was the one who led the minority.
The one after you met him. Thank you.
Yeah. I remember when this whole thing about the 2.5 billion domestic bonds thing came up. I had a lot of serial callers too. I had a lot of them. Some had been ministers and deputy ministers and top government functionaries, and the things they were saying bordered on what the serial callers should have been saying. So let somebody put that on record as well. See, I've read the statement of the CEO of COCOBOD. It's a very, very serious statement. Yes, he talked about the guest house. For me, the guest house is not a major issue, but he did. So once he did, we need to interrogate it. I have little difficulty with how he crafted that statement about former President Mahama was said to have influenced the award of the contract. That should have been left out of the statement. But he makes the point that that building, that new construction was needless, financially imprudent, that it lacked money for value, determination. Those are substantive issues requiring interrogation and investigations. The former president's office's response was as problematic as the initial statement, in the sense that they also sought to create the impression that that building had been there since 1975. But documentation showed that there were new and additional facilities put on that land.
A 5-bedroom house.
Yes. So that...
And the driver's quarters.
Yes, so that response too was faulty or flawed, because the new construction began somewhere January 2016. and ended November 2016. So we're not talking of 1975 there. But I'm saying that for me, it's not the major issue when I look at the statement that the CEO of COCOBOD issued at the press conference. See, we need to be serious in this country. Is it true or not that the cocoa roads budget we went in excess of the money that was available? Is it true or not? This is what the CEO was saying. The new management of Ghana Cocoa Board, upon assumption of office in February 2017, inherited cocoa roads debt to the tune of 3.52 billion. Total budgetary allocation of 1.64 billion was earmarked for the cocoa roads project between 2014-2015 and 2016-2017, whilst the NDC government awarded contracts to the tune of 5.16 billion. This was in excess of 3.52 billion. Is that true or is not true? And was that a prudent thing to do or not? And does that not overburden an institution like the Cocoa Board? The contractors, I'm told you are saying the contractors have been paid. How many of them? There are a lot of contractors who are chasing payments.
That's right.
For some of these contracts.
And many of them are complaining that they are not being paid.
Yes, because where is the money to pay them with? So these are hard facts. When the NDC minority held their press conference, they made series of allegations. Some of these things, they talked of some of the contracts have been suspended or are on hold.
Yes.
But you ask yourself, did you create a budgetary line in order to make that construction smooth sailing or not? You did not. So if there's a pragmatic decision to suspend certain things in order to do auditing so as to find out the feasibility and viability, who says that is wrong? It cannot be wrong. But if you, the one who perpetrated that situation, turn around and seek to allocate blame on the shoulders of a new administration, and I'm not talking government, I'm talking the administration at the Cocoa Board, they have the right to react. Of course, when you are reacting, you have to make sure you react with finesse and also be factual. I am saying that this thing here, this statement that has been made by the CEO, does it reflect the truth or it doesn't? If you look at this thing, it's funding for cocoa roads improvement. That is, this whole thing comes from the Cocoa Board Infrastructure Development Fund. It is true. They went over the budgetary allocation. They did. So we must look at that. Now the stabilization fund, I think my brother Oko, you might have gotten it wrong there, because the CEO himself makes the point that the stabilization fund policy, which was introduced during the Kufuor administration, and so that's not me. The fund had accumulated an amount of 206.50 million Ghana cedis when the MPP took over in January 2017. The budgeted figure of 93.5 million Ghana cedis for the 2016-2017 season was not set aside by the NDC government as a result of mistakes.
Sorry, that's the one I wanted to, the 361.
Yes, so they are saying that as at this time, we have 310 million in the stabilization fund. Yes, just to be factual.
Yes. I wanted to, the 2061, that's what I wanted, and I said the whole thing.
Okay,
so you have
that's fair. No? So it is there. We need to look at that. But you see, the NDC chaps, I'm sorry, that's not the best way. The NDC, the minority, I'm sorry. It's a wrong way of doing it. Our NDC friends, no, this chief, our NDC friends, when they held their press conference, I think raised the issue of the producer price. They were thinking that the stabilization fund was created for purposes of dealing with those issues, the volatility when it happens. I think, again, they were unfair. And the new administration has every right to react to that. There's obviously a 35, if not more, % reduction in the global prices of cocoa.
That's true.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Almost every country, including like Cote d'Ivoire, they've reduced the producer price, except Ghana.
Yeah, that's true.
We retained it.
7,600.
So, why? I thought you were playing on the keyboards of the emotions of cocoa farmers.
Yeah.
Knowing realistically
they were inciting them against
that you could not ask for that increment you were pushing.
Yeah.
And for good reasons. So this answer is solid.
Yeah.
Now when you come to the fertilizer thing, I always wondered why there was any controversy there. It's a policy decision. A new administration comes into office. They say that, look, the free fertilizers you were giving were actually not all getting to the right people.
Yeah.
Those getting out there too, some were being smuggled because it was free for people to make profit. I'm not saying that even subsidizing it will reduce, eliminate smuggling entirely. I'm not saying so. But I think that in terms of the policy consideration, the rationale and the logic, I'm with those who are saying that let's put something small on it as a disincentive for those who think because it's free, they can take all away and go and sell elsewhere and make profit. In terms of policy calculation, of rationale, of logic, I see the drift.
And sustainability.
And I buy into that. There were other issues, very serious issues were raised. Look, they talked of losses arising from trading in options. We've got to investigate that. They talked of this building you are talking, the warehouse. That the warehouse they put out there was an existing one that had the capacity to do what the new ones are doing. So they are talking here of financial prudence, prudent financial management.
Yes.
But they're still renting warehouses.
Yes, they're talking of tema. They're talking here location. The emphasis is on location.
He's concluding. I don't want you to interrupt him and then
And $24 million
any further.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so to be honest with you, my bottom line, let me be honest. Some of the allegations we are told even in this thing are being investigated. Some audits are ongoing. I think that we've got to reach the stage, like I said on the Maslock thing, where quite a lot of these things being investigated must be kept within the investigative framework, quickly dealt with, and sent to the appropriate authorities to deal with. Press conferences and counter press conferences, radio programs, television arguments and things, not the way forward.
Okay.
That's true.
Thank you very much, Kuku. We can now hear Samuel Okudzeto Ablaka.
Something.
Yes, and it's deliberate. I'm not asking you any question.
Something. What was the press conference about? The press
That's supposed to
conference.
be a rhetorical question, right?
Yes.
Which press conference? Which
The
one?
press conference by
COCOBOD boss.
the press conference by the COCOBOD boss to accuse the former administration, which I was a part of corruption, of wrongdoing, of wastage, inappropriate expenditure, not prioritizing what matters to cocoa farmers and all of that. But the main thing is corruption. The question I asked Samson is that after 10 good months in office, are we not fed up? Are we not tired? Anytime this government has its back against the wall, and the people of this country are angry with the leadership it is showing, whether it is in not condemning His Excellency A.C. Boateng and getting the national chairman, the acting national chairman, to defend him, whether it is hooliganism and vandalism, which is engulfing this nation and creating insecurity, which the Christian Council has been compelled to speak against, that we all don't feel safe in this country. Then
that's the
Pentecostal
Council, right?
Yes.
I'm not aware the Christian
but I
Council.
thought this press conference was reacting to the minority press conference.
So you notice that, and I've been in communications. I see it, I see what is going on. And they are not even doing it with finesse. It has now become so obvious. Anytime we have our back against the wall, let's hold a press conference, let's throw mud at the former government.
Oh, no, but this was in response to
Article 88 of the Constitution of this country is very clear. The only person with authority to investigate and prosecute crime, corruption, is the Attorney General, the current Attorney General, and the current government of the day.
And the incoming officer.
So what is all this about? We are corrupt, we've stolen money, we are keeping Ghana's money, we have taken cocoa funds. After we lost the election December 7, we spent over $400 million. We are keeping Ghana's money. Why are we working as free men? Why can't you take action?
You have to investigate first.
Please. You see, I think that we should take the people of this country serious. And this propagandist approach. And as Dr. Valerie Sawyer said in her now famous article, her latest one, lies and propaganda can help you come to power, but it cannot help you govern. If people have bought motorbikes for 17,000 cedis, which has turned out to be blatant falsehood, please deal with it.
She's getting some fitting replies. I'm sure they'll be published in the coming days, including one from the Maslock boss, Stephen Amwa. Very straight to her. You will hear them.
Now, what are the issues? And I think that people have even been very kind to the COCOBOD Chief Executive Officer. And I tell you that I've always admired him. He's a fine man. But clearly what he's being pushed to do, he should not subject himself to such ridicule. If you look at the wording, how he crafted the Creek guest house in Bali, created the impression, and not the impression, he stated expressly that it's a new facility built for the comfort, personal comfort of President Mahama. Those are the exact words he used. Personal comfort of President Mahama to enjoy on holidays. Holidays. When he visits the constituency. Is this fair to President Mahama? It turns out that the guest house has existed since 1975. I have seen a Facebook post of a known MPP member who says that everybody who went there to campaign used the guest house. Yes, there has been a renovation, there's been an additional, there's been some expansion. But be precise, be truthful, because of the impact to cause opprobrium, to bring the former president's name into disrepute, so that we will go after John Mahama's era again and attack him as the corrupt leader. That is how it was couched. He did not tell Ghanaians that it's an existing facility, it's a guest house which is open to the general public, that it is not only COCOBOD staff who use the facility.
It's a new structure, there's a new executive.
Yes. And I tell you, is it because it is in the north? Is it because it's in Bali? Are you saying that COCOBOD doesn't have executive structures all over in this country? In the Ashanti region, in the eastern region, in the western region, the Brong-Ahafo region? Is it because this is symbolic? No, let's stop these things. I listen to Fifi Boafu. I listen to Fifi Boafu.
He's the manager of his office.
Said what?
Has suggested to the effect that, I mean, you can't expect that you put that luxurious thing within that place.
Yes, that's what he said. I have the transcript as part of research material we received from Joy. It's here.
As in value for money, so to speak.
And listen to Fifi Boafu. He said it's a one-story building, has a 5-bedroom executive suite, complete with a bar, dining area, kitchen, and a kitchen yard, a pantry with 2 drivers. The floor is furnished with porcelain tiles, not ceramics. It is porcelain. Fifi Boafu told JoyNews on Thursday. This is not an ordinary building we are talking about in that place. So yes, So porcelain tiles. What's so special about porcelain tiles?
Talk about the luxury. You was talking about the luxury.
Luxury porcelain tiles. Porcelain tiles.
But those are the facts about the building.
If those are the facts, then it's not big deal.
And it's not a 75 structure. These ones were built
Yes,
in
it is
2016.
not.
But was there a facility there in 1975 or not?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Of course, yes.
Please allow the reaction.
So please, the decent thing to do is to apologize to President Mahama. This building has existed since 1975.
No,
he is not the one who contracted this. This project. This project is not for his personal comfort.
Correct.
There's a new sorry, let me say this.
Look, we know that. We know that.
You don't dispute that.
I don't dispute that.
Okay, there's a new five-bedroom executive building.
There's an expansion of the current
five-bedroom executive building with each room en suite.
Yes.
2 en suite bedrooms on the ground floor and 3 other rooms on the first floor. Main reception, living area, there's a bar, there's a dining area, kitchen with store and pantry, there's a kitchen yard, there's the floors were finished with porcelain tiles. He just reported what the visiting team that went brought back, and I'm looking at the report.
Built in 2016.
The bathroom and kitchen walls were tiled. Ground floor ceiling is plastered with and painted with POP ceiling ceramics. First floor ceiling is painted with plaster board with POP ceramics.
So what is wrong?
There are driver's cottages. 4-bedroom building with each room en suite. There's a laundry, store, kitchen.
Yes.
All of that.
The year of building.
This is a new one. This is a new one.
It's open for commercial purposes. You know
I've been to several guest houses of COCOBOD. This is pretty much standard. There's nothing strange about this. So
that's the argument.
So how about linking
that
this?
officer also suggests that if you wanted something like that, there's another place you could have put it and get benefit for it, rather than put it in Boli.
What is wrong? What is wrong with it being in Boli?
Right.
What is wrong? What is wrong with Boli receiving what is in Ashanti region, in Eastern region, in Baba region, in Western region,
you have to go to that area to need to use it.
In terms of realizing the money.
But the question is that it's also a research institute. You can have people from outside the country.
They are focusing on cashew as well. And remember that is where. And you don't. And Andrew Kweku, I want to hear you on this quote. To enable him enjoy comfortable holidays during visits to his constituency.
I made the point.
I mean, is this fair to President Mahama?
He didn't craft that well.
It's so unfair. So unfair.
It's not really crafting. He shouldn't have even added it.
President Mahama has residence in Boli. He's not. He has been MP there for 12 years. Was he a homeless MP?
That's a fair
When
point.
he goes there, he does. I mean, please, let's not do these things. Then the project in Tema, they said he pulled down a 17 room apartment
At the cost of 24 million.
I am reliably informed, and the Herald newspaper did a good job yesterday. Larry Dogbe's Herald newspaper, and I'm really impressed with Larry Dogbe's investigative journalism. I encourage readers to get it. He reveals that they pulled it down because taking so much space, and they've replaced it with a 92 apartment, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment. Building
like this,
for junior,
yes,
for junior and senior staff of COCOBOD. So we can interrogate it further. Does it help? Does it help the COCOBOD staff? You know, but I would not. So is this corruption? I mean, what has COCOBOD done? I mean, that you will say that this is wrongdoing, is corruption. And now, the former president influenced it. Yes, I mean, please. This has gone on. You did that. You have been on this tangent for years. You crucified us. You have taken us out. You now have the power. Please Punish wrongdoing, punish the corruption.
Okay.
Don't be holding press conferences. We are really fed up.
Well, obviously both parties.
I need 1 minute. Something. I need 1 minute to go back to our press conference.
Do it. 1 minute. Yeah.
Andrew Kweko talked about we saying that there was a FOB price that the farmers should deserve. It's not in the text. I must admit, I was not in Bodi, but I have the press conference statement here,
but
and it's not
the
here.
Press conference, you had
It's not here.
Okay.
We raise.
Okay.
And I heard them on radio too.
The two highest cocoa yields.
I heard it.
Okay.
No, but it's making a point about the yield.
The two highest cocoa yields that this country has ever had happened in the NDC era. 1 million metric tons in 2011 under Professor Mills and 966,400 in the 2016-2017 crop year.
That's consequential.
So the claim,
including
2016-2017,
under Professor Mills, and you remember what you
under Professor Mills, under Professor Mills, and under
But now what are you doing?
under President Mahama.
Thank you.
We raise issues about cocoa rows which have been suspended.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Cocoa rows which have been
the
suspended.
Okay.
We raise issues about
you remember you really wanted to
free
discuss
fertilizers.
the other two issues?
Free fertilizers, which
So
are now
hold on.
being sold to the farmers.
Thank you. Yes, but
As I said,
yeah.
for me, there's
serious.
a lot of serious matters in the press conference statement I'm reading here.
Okay.
I don't see them.
This
honestly.
really, let me
I
read
don't
this
see
one.
them. I don't see them.
And is it true that there was a full drawn down of $400 million between December 20th, 2016 and 6 January 2017? I'm not saying somebody chopped the money.
What's wrong with that?
No.
The drawdown, what's wrong with that? Are we seeing the COCOBOD program for
That's
the
all
year,
I'm
for the
asking
year
for.
2016?
That is what I'm asking
An
for.
audit of what it was
That is
used
all
for.
I'm asking for.
Was it
I haven't
brought
said-
down to personal
No,
pockets?
Thank
Or
you.
there's a
Thank
project
you.
that-
Thank
Don't-
you.
don't-
Thank you.
don't overreact.
Thank you.
No,
When
when
you
you
hold
hold the
take a
press
break here, we'll be right
when you
back.
hold the press conference, accuse people of corruption.
We
You
need
don't do this.
answers. We
You
need
have the
answers.
power. So
But
get
they
the
are
answers
investigated.
and deal with it.
It was in
Prosecute
Russia, it was
those
set in the
who-
record
I mean,
street.
Look, it is big money, pa.
Laughing because the guys in the studio are speaking into my ears and they're talking about my Swiss chocolate. All right, you're welcome back. This is Newsfile, it's your most authoritative news analysis show. And of course, reminded that when I was actually talking about the guest house, a lawyer's mind is full with suits. So instead of saying and sweets, I'll say and suits. But of course, that's the biggest question about it, because if you have, a 3-bedroom and suite, then you ask the question, who is it for? If it's not people of the pedigree of the president and the like, who could it be for?
It can also be for. It can
You
be
don't know
research.
there are suites at Golden Tulip, at Moving Pick, at Golden Beam
Of
Hotel
course
in
there are.
Kumasi.
Of course there are.
Yeah.
Is it for all the presidents who go
There are
there?
many suites for COCOBOD. I'll take you to some in the Ashanti region, in
Okay.
the Brongapu region.
So
please.
thank you to
Because it's in Bali.
Atuka Aminadazi for drawing my attention. Thank you very much. Now, Adam Abdul Razak says that Joy FM reporter in Wa, Rafiq Salam, confirmed that President Mahama used the new facility on 2 occasions before and after the elections, and NDC members disputing. Are they disputing he used it? JM's love for luxury, or they don't believe he was that corrupt? I see. Samuel Brian Boabing says that JM has a family house in Bali, so he doesn't need the modding, and he's making a fun of that, the modding 1975 house. When he inappropriately received the Ford vehicle from a foreign contractor, didn't he have several cars at his disposal? In fact, he told the world he didn't even like American cars, but still he collected the vehicle. Even though he has houses, didn't he put in a request to keep a state bungalow? Oh, you want to go there? Owura Kweku Menu Edujemfi says, this tells us that people would rather want to hear lies than the truth. Who doesn't know that when it comes to politics, party folks come first. Is it now a crime to tell the truth, even if a lying MP is still in Parliament and another MP wants to see the whatever of a journalist hypocrisy at its best? Emmanuel Manukori Ansa says that the dramatic increase in the cocoa production tonnage to 960,000 tons is due to smuggling. Remember, Ghana has not reduced its price as against Cote d'Ivoire's price. Pythagoras' theorem says that common bicycle John Mahama bought at 15,000. Well, that has been exposed as incorrect, that it was bought in 2006. So I don't know how you deal with that. Then Peter Nana Ato Yosin says he's surprised on how the NDC people are trying to defend this corrupt building at Boli. They should watch out. Special prosecutor is around the corner. Okay. Richard Dagadu says, I hope it's not a Phoenix bike that they bought for 15,000. AU Farouk Tamale says that shame on to the NPP government for wanting to divert our minds from the mismanagement of state funds they created at the COCOBOD. But NPP and COCOBOD CEO cannot paint the former president black. Their misdeeds at the COCOBOD will be exposed day by day. Akonyere Maxwell says that come to Upper East in the Kasena Nankana West, where the so-called cocoa roads were awarded in 2010 for the Kandiga, Mirigu and Sirigu Road. And up to date, the road is still like the way it was. The contract was awarded to the NDC regional chairman. We have made several press releases and so many follow-ups, and nothing has happened. This is Maxwell from Mirigo. You know about that for a fact, that the contract was awarded to the chairman, and he has got, as it were, mobilization, and yet is not doing the work. Okay, let's get to the facts and deal with them as they come. But you see, that's another interesting aspect. You know of party people who go to offices asking for contracts that is not the area of work they do, but they ask for the contracts, they get it, and they rather now sell the contract to those who have the expertise to do that job. I'm like, I mean, what is this? What is this? I learned of one that was apparently going on within party executives and people against the Upper East regional minister, who said, I won't give you, because if you're not doing that job, I won't give it to you. And they said, this is what you ought to do, otherwise we'll make your place ungovernable. Well, let's see how it goes. See what the party people are up to. So now, guys say, yes, from what we discussed, what I'll do is this, about those two issues. You said we should do, everybody take a bite at each of them. So I leave it up to you. Either you want to talk about the President Mahama's, talk about the vigilantism and other people, the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, what they have had to say about it, or you want to talk about the digital data address system, if that's what you want to talk about, the 2.5 million projects. We are hearing that there are loopholes in the addressing system. They say no, there are no loopholes. We're being told that it is susceptible to hacking. We are told that no, it is safe for users, and that the things we are talking about are actually incorrect. There was a claim that Ghana was to pay Google 400 million yearly for the address system. We have had a reaction from Vocacom CEO, who says Ghana will not be paying 400 annually to Google, and so on and so forth. Some of you say we could have gotten it for free, and so on and so forth. So who do I start with? I think I'll start with Bawa again.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take any of the two, because
yes, I will just touch on both of them quickly.
Okay.
How many minutes do I have?
We have 10 minutes to go, so maybe you can do some 3 minutes.
Okay. My comments on the Ghana Post GPS is simple. If you look at the app, it runs on smartphones. Now, if you look at the data that has been produced by NCA, there are about 30 million phones in Ghana. Out of these 30 million, only 6 million are smartphones. So it means that you have about 24 million phones that cannot run on this particular project. The question then is, if the whole idea is to include everybody in terms of formalizing the economy, and because they said that was one of the areas of encouraging financial inclusion and what have you, that tells you that this thing is just targeted at just a class or maybe a group of people who, for one reason or the other, maybe be a bit more affluent as compared to the many people who use those phones. So it defeats, that's a drawback on that. The second point is that, you see, this is an address that captures 5 by 5 in terms of the size. So what it means, technically, is that if you are in your house, you have more than one address. Because if I were to be in my yard, the address is different. If I were to move, because typically a plot is about 70 by 100. So if I were to move to different places, then you have challenges with that. They also indicate that if you are in your room, you are unable to get the location, so you must necessarily come out. That is where the issue of people imposing or maybe trying to fraud then comes in. I can just come in front of your house, stand there, get my thing, get the details, and that will be my address, because that is exactly what I've been able to capture. So that is another area. But my challenge is the fact that even within the people who practice these, who are implementing this, there are a bit of contradictions. One, we all heard, and I read what the MD of Ghana Post said. He indicated that as a country, we have to always have an annual subscription for using the Google platform of 400,000. Then you have the company that gave them the product, saying that, no, it was all inclusive in the 2.5 million. You have the Ministry of Communication indicating that, oh, this amount, this 400,000 was a one-off payment. And that from next year, they will be running the platform on another thing, and not Google. Indeed, I had occasion to ask, so if they were not going to run on Google, what were they going to run on? The response from the deputy minister was that there was an interministerial sort of collaboration that was coming, and that they were going to create a unified platform that they would run on. I'm yet to see exactly what that means. So these are some areas that everybody's worried about. Okay. But in terms of address system, nobody has a problem with that. But on the vigilante,
you've exhausted the time.
Oh, just a quick one, just one. I think that the problem we have is lack of leadership, particularly from the president. And I've said this many times. If you remember when the president came and addressed us in terms of the State of the Nation address, go back and look at that document. He initially just condemned it. Then the next paragraph, he was justifying why the people, or he was suggesting why the people were behaving that way. That because in other previous government, there have been those things, and on the basis of that, the people think that it is their time to do that. The moment you begin to give reasons or excuses why people behave in the way they behave, definitely, people are always very sure that, look, they have a reason to behave that.
Whatever reference he made, he said it was unacceptable, and that it was going to be treated as pure crime without political.
But we have, look, from January, January to today, we have not seen that this thing has been treated as pure crime.
Really?
We have not.
Oh, I see.
We have not.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Dr. Kobo.
Something, my brother. In 2016, somewhere around October, CDD did a report, Center for Democratic Development, talked to Ghanaians about which parties they associate to vigilantism. And 66% of the respondents said the NDC is associated to the groups, 18% in the NPP. The point I want to make is that it's trans-governmental in terms of some of these unruly behaviors we see.
In opposition, you had the invisible forces causing all the trouble within your party offices and all.
My point I'm making is that is transgovernmental. These misdemeanors or these unruly behaviors happens when even governments change. So the question is that why is it that when even governments change, these things happen? And the causes, I have identified two main causes. The first one is the structure of law enforcement. You see, most of the time, the police appear lethargic instead of being proactive and acting. The reason is simple. When you get to certain ranks within the police service, I stand to be corrected. Even the approvals are done in consultation with the executive. Is that not it?
The people are associated with parties.
No.
And
Yes,
it's not being lethargic. They are just afraid.
Good.
If they touch them, they lose their jobs or they are punished by transfer.
The Constitution itself allows the president to appoint the IGP. Is that not it?
That's right.
Yes. There are certain provisions of the Constitution which in itself creates obstacles for us. When the head, the topmost person, gets approval not from an independent council but from a politician, sometimes it affects their output.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying that the structure of the law enforcement.
Yeah.
The second one is the local government structure. I'm happy that the president says that we are going to now vote for our MCs. Most party people have a conflict with their MCs because they are loyal not necessarily to the people they are governing, but to where the source of power came from.
And the RECSECs are, DISECs are headed by political party people.
Let me say strongly that you show loyalty to a party not only by being part of the campaign, but also by being obedient to the instructions of the president.
Thank you. Kweku can have 1 minute and then Sami to have 1 minute.
Well, see, these acts of vandalism and things, that's where my focus is. There's some people being prosecuted. Am I right?
Yeah.
In the Kariga area.
Yeah.
One more of such things. And I hope the outcome will be severe than the one that we saw in Kumasi.
Okay.
I'm looking for that. We need to investigate, prosecute, convict, and sentence, regardless of who they are or what they are. Now, I heard the Interior Minister asking police officers who get influenced by politicians not to do their work to report them. Some people have said no. I think that the policemen, if those things happen, should document it, refer to the IGP and the Police Council, and even the Committee on Interior and Defense of Parliament.
Okay.
We need to get to that stage in this country's history.
Thank you. Yes, Sami.
On the marauding MPP youth who have really made Ghana, turned Ghana into a state of insecurity. It is clear that leadership is needed. Only yesterday, this continues unabated. Only yesterday, Samson, a colleague of yours, a Joy FM cameraman at the Adan East confirmation, only yesterday was bundled by visible force.
Yeah, but does it make Ghana a state of insecurity? If Atebubu did it.
We are all feeling... We are all feeling unsafe. This has gone on from
just a minute you have
all over. So President Akufo-Addo must disband these groups. We still want to renew the call that these groups must be disbanded. Don't stop victimizing the police. What have the police people done? And the police are being intimidated and being.
No, it's a policeman himself
who started this. The political leaders started it. Disband these groups in your political parties first, before you go harassing and intimidating innocent police commanders.
Finally, this is very important. From the Vocacom CEO, he says that for those without smartphones, as you mentioned, Ghana Post is on standby to help get their addresses. And I've heard also the Deputy Communications Minister repeat that. All post offices across the nation have been equipped to help them.
This $2.5 million Ghana Post scandal is worse than Bus Brand.
Scandal?
It's worse.
We're out of time.
It's worse than Bus Brand.
You've judged the matter.
What was Dr. Baumia told when he said that? When he said
sorry,
that technology will be more
we're out of time. We're out of time. We're out of time. Sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for keeping your dials here and also for watching us on your JoyNews channel. My outfit, as always, is provided by Latida. My guests have been Abdul Malik Kwekubaku, editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, MP North Tongue, and ranking member, Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. Dr. Okoboy is MP, Lejekuku, and member, Select Committee on Health. And Edward Bambire Bawa is MP, Bongo constituency. Thank you all very much for listening and watching. Have a good afternoon. The news is up next.